Don't you worry, the clip's about to begin, but don't forget to subscribe. Or else, don't make me turn this website around.
Okay, so our next caller is Dave. Hi, can you hear us?
Hey, how's it going?
Good, thanks. Says that you're in Georgia as well. That's the theme. What's your question today?
It's good. It's good to talk to you guys.
Hey, you too. Thank you.
Thanks for calling in.
Well,
what's your question
before
today?
I get into the reason before I get into the reason for my call, I want to give you a little bit of background. For me, I'm number 50 of the original 52 of the Clergy Project, and I am Dave the missionary in Daniel Dennett's book, Caught in the Pulpit. That's neither here or there, but just a little clarification. I've been married for 22 and a half years, and my wife is still a Christian, and we there's the elephant in the corner of the room that we just don't look at that elephant most of the time. And but I love my wife with more than my being. And we've come to an acknowledgement that she can believe what she believes, I can believe what I believe. And I don't mean to make this a political conversation, but with all the QAnon and everything that has been happening recently, just let you know, I've been without my wife for 3 months because her father died of COVID in Texas, and her mother just got over cancer, so she's there helping her mother go to hospital visits and doctor visits and all that. And so, but when I'm on the phone with her, she's constantly talking about how the election was stolen. And, to me, this is like taking all this into a different level. And so when she returns, I just don't know how I can. I mean, I can understand that white elephant in the corner, but this is something that is totally different that we've never experienced. And the reason for my call is I hope this helps someone out there. One, two, I just don't know how to handle this because ever since I came out as an atheist, the thought of divorce has been there, but our love for each other has risen above that. But when you start getting into this conspiracy theory and all this thing, I just don't know how I'm going to handle that when she returns. And so I'm just looking for some advice, and I hope this call helps people out there.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's very very tricky when there are sort of big fundamental belief differences, and like you say, perhaps with religion it can be something that's quite personal, and so you can both have your own beliefs and it not come in the way. But when it becomes politics, or more importantly when it becomes stuff that people talk about all the time, it can be a lot more difficult. I guess one thing might be that because she's spending a load of time around people who believe this stuff and everyone's talking about it all the time, she's having it reinforced. And then when she comes back home, it will be bad for a week or two, and then it will stop being reinforced, and it will, start seeming a bit wackier. And like lots of these culty kind of beliefs, the conspiracy theory stuff needs this constant thing driving it. They need to constantly hear more. QAnon predictions have to keep coming in, and there has to be this constant chasing to find out the truth, or find out the fake truth. So hopefully when she's away from, if this is something that's happened more since she's gone to Texas or wherever you said, then hopefully that it's because she's around people who are thinking it. I think it'll be, sorry, I don't just want to repeat and say, it's going to be difficult. Just kind of thinking out loud. Do you have anything to add, Sword?
Yeah, boy. This is tough because I think what I'm hearing, Dave, is that you guys can kind of work your way around having different beliefs. And I do the same in my personal life, not in my marriage. I'm in my second marriage now. The first was with a fundamentalist believer. I mainly kept my head down through that one. But now it's more with some of my family members. And where we find common ground is, or the way we reconcile this difference in our relationship is finding where we do share common values and and those can really drive the relationship. Because really, me and my Christian family, we value most of the same things as far as how you treat people and how you live together, and most of the deeply important things we have in common. So is what you're saying maybe that, or is the problem with some of this stuff is that it gets into an area where it kind of intrudes into that relational thing and the shared values, as far as maybe the disconnect from reality or the emotional temperament of these beliefs? Are those kind of digging up at stuff that make the relationship difficult?
Well, the thing is that there's no doubt that my wife prays for me every night, and she, believes I'm going to go to hell unless I believe in Jesus. And so you have that, aspect of our relationship. But when you bring in this other aspect out of, I would say left field, but this is actually far right field. It's just, I just don't know. I'm just trying to prepare myself because I know she's going to be talking about, because she truly believes the election was stolen. She truly believes all this stuff. And, and to me, she believes more in that than she does her religion. So to me, this is a greater threat on our marriage than her religion.
I think with politics, I always think about this thing from this video from a YouTuber, by a guy called H Bomber Guy, who did a video about flat Earth, which was really good. And one of the things he says is that lots of the people who believe in these conspiracy theories are right that something is wrong. They just haven't found out they haven't quite got their head around what the thing that is wrong, and they haven't quite got their head around the solution. And certainly when it comes to politics, like American politics, no offense, like I'm a British person saying this, so take it with a pinch of salt, but American politics is a bit of a disaster. And, if she's feeling like disillusioned with the state of the country, she's right. And for sure, like, oh, the election's been stolen, it would have been so much, like, that's very frustrating, but it might just be details looking for sort of an explanation as to why something feels wrong. Like, there's a huge wealth disparity, and it's affecting people's day-to-day lives. And also then there's like COVID and all kinds of, mismanagement and things going on. And that means you can kind of agree with some of it. If she comes home and says, the election's stolen, Biden's terrible, this is all going wrong, you can be like, well, I do agree that the Democrats are quite bad. They're better than Republicans, but, and, then you can kind of find this thing where you agree on how something should change. We both agree that the current electoral system is terrible. So that's a common ground here. I guess that it, like you say, it's new to your relationship, so it's kind of difficult, but it will mean that it might mean that there are some new strategies you can find and new common things, and she might just now suddenly have this new interest in politics and might just be reaching out for sort of different explanations, and you can say, oh, I also care about this political thing. I also think that income inequality is terrible. I agree with you, and I don't think the Democrats are making it good enough. So I agree. Just also, I don't think the Republicans are going to make it good either. So it might be a case of finding these sort of strategies to find new common grounds that maybe you just haven't talked about between the two of you before.
One thing I would ask is, Dave, I guess the core of your anxiety, is that more about, you said that before you've just put things in the corner of the room and just let them be there, and you guys have been able to do that, right? with most issues?
For the most part, yes.
Okay. Is your fear more that she will not be able to put it in the corner of the room, or that this is something that you can't personally ignore now, that it's going to bother you too much? And which of those would you say is more the issue?
I don't think she will be able to make it in the corner of the room because she keeps talking about it, one. And then two, because she brings it up, I don't know if I can.
If she brings it up, you'll have trouble setting it aside. Is that what you're saying?
Well, if she brings it up, I have to respond. And
yeah,
if she, okay, case in point, if she says, "Hey, Jesus is God," then I have to respond. But the fact is, we both understand that we believe differently, so that's not an issue. But politics is different with her than religion in this way, because she's brought this up numerous times, talking about how the election was stolen. And so I just, this is just a different aspect of the same thing, but in a different area.
Okay. Can I relate to you something of how I and my family have dealt with this before? And maybe it'll be of help to you?
Sure.
Okay. Basically, we have some very deep differences. I have family who are very strong fundamentalist Christian and very conservative politically, and this is to various degrees depending on the person. But we've actually, some of us have come to explicit terms where we've said, that some of these questions are just bigger than us. We have the same basic core human value, but as far as what the solution is, we all have to have the humility to recognize that we don't have all the answers. Like Katy said, there's a lot of stuff broken. The question is, how do you fix it? And is the question of how do you fix it so big that you can't weather that, having a difference about it? And so what we've done is said, look, this question is big. We have opinions, but neither of us are such experts on all these topics that we can just boil it down to a perfect answer. So can we just live with the fact that we share these values that will help us live together, and that we really care about the same things as humans, but just recognize that we're imperfect and you've gone this way and I've gone that way. We feel strongly about it, but because we know we're imperfect, because we know we're potentially very mistaken, and because this is a triggering point for us, can we agree just to set this aside? So is that, sorry to laugh, it's just like a cat situation. Is that something you think you could do if she brings this up? Say, look, I know that you believe the election was stolen. I don't. I really don't think we're going to settle this issue here without it becoming a personal problem. Can we set this aside? Agree we care about the same things, but that neither of us can get to the bottom of this election stolen. Do you think that might work as an approach?
Well, thank you so much for taking my call, because the first reason why I called was cathartic for me, because I just need to tell someone. And so thank you so much for enabling me to tell you. The second thing is I was hoping that it would be a help to someone out there who is going through maybe not the same thing, but something similar. And so yeah, what you just said, I totally agree. And I have no idea, once my wife returns, how it's going to actually play out in real time. But all I'm saying is that I'm trying to prepare myself, and you guys have helped me at least get this out there in the ether. And you guys have helped me at least give you my conundrum and help me in my thought processes on how I will deal with it when my wife returns. So thank you so much for that.
No problem.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for calling in. Yeah, I'm glad that you found it helpful.
I just didn't want to waste your time. I was hoping that my call would be profitable. I didn't want to be, just about me. I wanted to talk about, something that would help somebody.
No, I think it's very useful. I mean, it's kind of related to even one of the calls we've had earlier with someone talking about QAnon and loved ones. And I think that dealing with, politics is kind of very divided at the moment, and lots of people are wondering how to deal with people they love having crazy beliefs. I guess I think it's very useful. So don't feel guilty or like you're being selfish or anything at all.
Well, so once again, if you're trying to understand, in the book called In the Pulpit, I'm Dave the Missionary, and I was totally green when I was interviewed for that book, but it captured that. And so if you want to hear a little bit about my origins, there you go.
Well, thank you.
Excellent. Thanks. Yeah, thank you very much for
You guys
calling.
have a good one.
And
You too, thank you.
Bye.
Do you care, Katie, if I add something real quick about that whole topic?
Yeah, go for it.
There's something, I have a little bit of a different take on than you do, maybe just because of where I live and the perspective I've had as an American who's seen this, and I've seen it from the perspective of a conservative Christian. When I was about half my life ago or more, I was listening to Rush Limbaugh regularly as I drove into work, this kind of stuff, which that's a whole other current topic right now, how to respond to his current situation. But the way what I see happening with Trump right now, I think goes deeper than just people having a conspiracy theory or people trying to make sense of current problems going on. I think that the way I see it anyway, this might precede Rush Limbaugh, but talk show hosts like Rush Limbaugh, all those other ones back in the 90s, they had started this narrative of the left-wing media, all these institutions attacking people and everything being unfair. And that stirred up a lot of resentment. And I think a lot of these people have seen Trump being the end of that story arc and basically being their salvation to these things that they have really deeply boiled up inside them. And this stuff has been festering hard for a lot of these people. There's a lot of very deep anger. And so I don't think the solution to this, it's kind of scary for me to think of because I've seen the way a lot of people I know in my circles have reacted. So I don't mean to be hopeless about it, but I think there's something there inside people that you need to be prepared that this isn't simply a theory people have come up with, or it's not simply something crazy they've caught in the moment. This is accumulation of something that has been lingering and festering very hard. And I think they finally thought they had somebody who was going to come in, tear down the liberal media, tear down all these institutions, and really put America back the way it was supposed to be. And suddenly that didn't happen. And now we've got them. Yeah, exactly. Now we've got them at this very sore point where they thought they had won this battle that had been going for a long time, and it's gone. And so it's a tough thing. And I don't mean to just be overly dramatic or whatever, but there are things going on there inside people that you need to be prepared for when these conversations come up, because they can get difficult in understanding why. You can be prepared for it, but then also maybe have some insight into what's going on with that person beyond that they're just seeming a little crazy.
Yeah, I agree with all that. Actually, I think that like Trump and QAnon are both like symptoms rather than the root cause. It's not like Trumpism didn't start with Trump and it didn't just come out of nowhere, and QAnon isn't just like some wacky thing that people have got into because of COVID and too much time at home. And like those are things. Like Trump did make it worse, and COVID has made more people get into more different conspiracy theories. But like you say, it is built upon like, a long time. You wouldn't have got to these places if it wasn't for years and years or decades even of people selling these narratives and people getting to a point where they believe something and then it becomes a new foundation for a new idea and takes a long time. So it's kind of scary, because I think for a lot of people who weren't directly affected by Trump in a sort of major way, like I've seen this on Twitter quite a lot, like Biden's won the election, it's like, cool, we've fixed America, like it's back to normal, business as usual, guys. And that's kind of terrifying, because lots of people do just think it's like, we'll just sweep that under the rug and it's just done. And like, who knows what's going to happen in the next election cycle or anything. And yeah, I don't know. It's scary over here in England too. Anyway, I won't rant about that, but let's get on to the next caller. Otherwise I'll start going on about English politics as well, which is terrible. We have a follow-up call from earlier today. Do you have time to quickly get the last 10 minutes, Sod? I know you've got a
Yeah,
stop
I
at
got
the
another
end.
2 minutes.
Okay, cool. Oh, is this working? Hi, Dave,
hello?
you're back. Hi.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Good,
Good.
thanks. How are you? Not speaking in ages.
How's it going, Katy?
Good, thanks.
Well, the reason
for it.
why I called back in, and I'm sorry about this, I didn't think about calling in, but I had no idea that you were transgender, and here's something I just want to let you know about. When I was a kid, I was sexually abused by my male cousin, and as that really, affected me in a way that made me think that all gay people were like that. And then I became a Christian, and that kind of reinforced that mentality. And so, now that I'm an atheist, I understand that's all crap. And I had no idea that you were transgender. I had no idea. And the reason why I called back in, and I hope you don't mind me calling back in, I just wanted to say that it's so nice meeting you. You're an awesome person. And
Thank you.
And so it makes me feel better about myself because I no longer have those hang-ups. And so I hope this is okay. And so thank you for expanding my understanding of reality. Thank you for being who you are. And I'm crying right now. So thank you.
Oh, I know. I think it's good to hear, and I think it's good to take time for yourself to appreciate how you've like overcome a prejudice, which in your case is rooted in something very serious. It is a thing worth celebrating. If you're interested, if you're interested, I guess, related to this, I recently did a video on my YouTube channel about how I'm a trans person and I used to be transphobic. And I think that it's important to recognize that people can get over these prejudices that they have, and they can, sort of become better people for it. And it's good to celebrate those things and forgive people and to move on. So, yeah,
Well,
thanks for calling in.
Once again, thank you so much. You've expanded my world tonight, and I wish you and Prophet Azad from Superman all the best, and I love you guys. So,
Thank you.
Oh, amazing! Thanks.
Bye.
Bye. It's Prophet Azad from Superman, is it?
Yeah, that's what the name comes from. There's people ask me why I have that name, and there's really no reason.
Because I must say I'm a bit disappointed, because I assumed you'd like created your own religion and like you were the prophet of like the god of Zod or something, and now it's a Superman god. Like, oh.
Yeah, sorry to disappoint. It's literally I was coming up with a channel and I had no name and I had to think of something, and it entered my mind, and hey, that sounds kind of funny. So,
well, it's more imaginative than my channel name, which is just my name. So,
hey, that works. It gets to the point, right?
Hey, thanks for checking out this clip for The Line. While you're here, hit that like button, hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and then share this with that bitter uncle of yours who loves talking about the good old days.